Begin seated in the chair. Inhale, looping the shoulders forward, up and back in big circles, making a lot of space through the body. And then reverse the circles, inhaling forward, down, and back. Inhale for half of the circle, exhale for half of the circle. Interlace the fingers and inhale, press the fingers forward and overhead while still dropping the shoulders down the back. Reach up through the palms. On an exhale, bring the hands down and change which finger is on top with the interlacing. And we'll inhale and press the fingers forward and up overhead, again dropping down through the shoulders, reaching through the palms. And then bring the palms in front of you, facing down, and make a figure 8 from the nose to the belly button. And changing the crossing of the fingers will make an infinity symbol from one shoulder to the other, just finding some movement in the wrist and the fingers, releasing any tension here. Inhale the left hand out in front of you, pulling the fingers back towards you, palm facing out and then palm facing down, stretching out the wrists on both hands here. Take the knees wide. Inhale, press the chest forward, draw the shoulders down the back. Exhale, pull the belly button in and round the back. A seated cat-cow. Inhale, dropping the head back. Exhale, dropping the chin to the chest. And just moving through a few breaths on really articulating through the spine and through the belly. Cross the left ankle over the right knee. Sit up nice and tall and then hinge from the hips, leaning forward, maybe reaching all the way down to the ground, or maybe just keeping one hand on one ankle and one hand on the knee. Shoulders drawing down away from the ears. And just breathing into the hip area. On an inhale, come back upright and tighten the legs in, dropping the foot down to the side. Placing the right hand on the outside of the left knee, the left hand behind you, and come into a little bit of a twist. Maybe turning to look over the left shoulder. Inhale back to center, and bring the right ankle over the left knee. Inhale, lifting the chest, and exhale, hinge from the hips, coming forward. Maybe the fingertips reach the ground, or maybe one hand on the ankle and one hand on the knee. Shoulders drawing down the back, chest reaching forward, hip opening. On an inhale, rise up and tighten the crossing of the legs again. Bringing one hand to the knee and one hand behind you, lift and lengthen through the spine, and exhale, squeeze the abs, turning to look over the right shoulder. Inhale, back to center, take the knees wider than the chair, and then walk the hands down the legs to a comfortable forward fold. Supporting yourself on your shins or on the floor or on a block or your desk in front of you, whatever you have handy. Inhale and walk the hands back up the legs, draw the feet together. And continuing on from here or skipping ahead to the relaxation. If you have a mat, we'll come to standing at the top of the mat. Inhaling the arms to the side and overhead, taking up a lot of space and getting a good stretch from the heels all the way to the fingertips. On an exhale, release the hands and interlace the fingers behind the back or hold on to a strap behind your back. Maybe pressing the palms together or maybe keeping the palms wide. Inhale, lift the chest, and exhale, hinge from the hips, folding forward, allowing the hands to fall as far overhead as they comfortably can reach. Inhale, exhale, release the hands. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step the right foot back and come into a low lunge, dropping the knee onto the ground, sinking the hips forward. Maybe bringing the hands to the fingertips or to the tops of the knees, and maybe reaching around to grasp your ankle or your foot, if it's comfortable to do so. Releasing the foot down, place the hands on either side of the foot and draw the hips back, lengthening through the back of the left leg. Inhale and come forward, stepping both feet into a plank. We'll drop down to chaturanga or knees, chest, and chin, and scoop forward to upward dog or cobra, maybe shifting to look over one shoulder and the other, just finding a little movement in this. Inhale and reach the hips up and back, coming into a downward dog, drawing the shoulder blades down the back, reaching through the heels, maybe bending one foot and then the other, pedaling the feet out, lengthening through the backs of the legs. Remember to press into all 10 knuckles. And finding a little stillness in the pose before stepping the left foot forward and dropping the right knee down onto the ground. Remember to sink those hips down and forward, lifting the chest, drawing the shoulders down the back. And then maybe coming up onto the knee and reaching around to grab that right foot. Release the foot. Sink the hips back, pull the hips back now, lifting the front foot and digging that heel into the ground, lengthening from the hip all the way down into the heel. Inhale and come forward, just slightly so that you can bring the knees underneath the hips. We're going to bring the fists to the hips here, or maybe fingertips on the hips pointed down, or maybe fingertips pointed up, drawing the elbows towards one another. Press the shoulder blades into the chest and lift the chest towards the ceiling. Press the hands into the hips, pressing the hips forward. Maybe lift the head all the way up and look overhead, or maybe even dropping the head down behind. If that's uncomfortable on your neck, go ahead and drop your chin to your chest during that stretch. And we'll go ahead and release into child's pose, knees wide, toes together, reaching the hands forward, maybe digging in the elbows, bringing the palms together and overhead to release through the shoulders, or maybe just pressing into the palms and dropping the chest and the head down between the shoulder area. Come to a tabletop position, extending the right foot up towards the ceiling and then reaching around with the left hand towards the right foot, maybe taking a strap around the foot, or maybe just holding onto the toe, pulling on the foot, pressing the foot into the hand, lift up towards the ceiling, and release down to the ground, squaring off again before lifting the left leg straight up, reaching around with the right hand to grab the toe or a strap, and pressing the foot into the hand and hand into the foot. Squeeze into the midline here for balance. Coming back to tabletop position, inhale the left fingertips up and exhale, bring them down. Maybe the shoulder comes to rest on a block, or maybe the shoulder comes to rest all the way down onto the mat. Fingertips together, stretching into that shoulder. Inhale and press the fingertips into the ground, coming back upright. Exhale and then inhale the right hand up and over, coming down to rest the shoulder, top of the shoulder on a block, or the top of the shoulder directly on the ground. And then placing the left hand over the right, palms together, breathing into the back body. Inhale and come back upright. Cross the feet and come to lying on your mat, heels close to your hips, block close to you. Draw your shoulder blades down your back, find a nice curve in the back of the neck, and then inhale and lift the hips up. You can take the block here in several different positions, either lengthwise along the spine from the tailbone to the lower back, or in the upright position across the hips, or in the flat position across the hips, or aligned with the spine. Either way, tuck the tailbone down, lengthen the spine down away from you, and come to rest the back. Allow all the weight to sink over that. Maybe take the feet as wide as the mat and drop the knees together. And then walking the feet back in, press into the feet and the shoulders, lift the hips and set the block to the side but accessible. Lengthen the legs out long. And we're going to come up onto our elbows here, making a triangle with our hands and placing it underneath our tailbone, pointing the elbows back behind you, lifting the chest by digging the shoulder blades into it and maybe dropping the head down the back. You can also do this supported, bringing the block in the same positions we talked about before, flat or upright, along the spine from the tips of the shoulder blades to the top of the shoulders. Draw the shoulders down the back and lift the chest, maybe adjusting once you lie down to find a nice place to rest. We're going to hold this one for just a few breaths. So tailbone tucked down underneath, allow the feet to relax, and allow the body to relax down over the block. If the upright position feels too intense, go ahead and lower it down flat, or even just placing a rolled towel or a pillow underneath your back for support, opening through the chest, opening through the collarbone area, the throat, and the neck. Breathe deeply into the chest area, and really allow the back muscles to relax and soften around the block or the support underneath you. And to come out, press into the elbows, lift the chest, move the block to the side, and come down to lying. Or if you weren't able to come onto your mat today, then just come to a comfortable seated position in your chair, allowing the hands to rest in the lap, palms facing up, and taking a few deep breaths, filling the belly and the chest. before inhaling the arms to the side and overhead, exhaling the palms down through heart center. Namaste.